What's going on, guys? Welcome to today's video. I'm BlackPanthaa, and today I'm kind of doing a response to someone's video that was a response to my Underground 3 video, but it's not really like a direct response. It's kind of just taking one of the subjects he spoke about and kind of speaking about it, because Hot Pursuit 2010 is a good game if you liked the original Hot Pursuit games. But to me, coming from the only original Need for Speed game I really played was, Porsche Unleashed. I did play parts of the other ones, but not really getting in, full depth with those games. But I really kind of started buying the games yearly around the Underground time. And seeing it go from that to Hot Pursuit is kind of a downgrade, and I'll explain some of the features in a minute and what kind of made it go downwards. But the main reason is because it brought mainly negatives to the franchise rather than positives. Now, they did bring some positives. Obviously, it made it survive, for God's sake, but it did bring some negatives, which I will speak about in a second. So the first reason I really dislike Hot Pursuit is mainly because it kind of affected the franchise, as I said, as a whole recently, because every single Need for Speed, except Shift 2 Unleashed, which was released like a year and then Run came out the same year, it's kind of a spin-off game, but that's not the point. The main series of Need for Speed games, ever since Hot Pursuit was released, and obviously Hot Pursuit itself, kind of removed the customization system that was put into place quite early on in the franchise when it started to pick up, the Underground, Underground 2, Most Wanted, Carbon, even Undercover, Pro Street, all of those, even Shift, World. All of those games had customization to do with performance. Some of them, well, they had visual modifications as well. Some of them not as deep as the other, but still, they had something, and it was a very good step forward. Especially now, I think it would be an even bigger feature due to the whole online interactivity. Everyone can just drive around showing off in their favorite cars, which people do in GTA. And I really see that would work extremely well nowadays. If I want to use an SLS and be able to catch up with the other guys, I don't want to just do it like I can do in Most Wanted, the new one, but I want to upgrade my car to be able to one day catch up to it if I play more than him, say for example, because if he plays more than me, he can upgrade his car and destroy mine. But that's not the point. Part of it was, just the feel of making your car your own, spending hours really putting visual customizations on the side of the car, working on your own artwork with the presets that we got, with twist them around and scale them. Just, you could come up with some really good things, and you can see, even if you look at Need for Speed World, how many video tutorials there are for making the Skyline from Too Fast Too Furious, right? The Supra from the Fast and Furious, making the original Need for Speed cars, so the M3, some from Underground 2, Underground, that's really why I want it, because it does bring, creativity to Need for Speed, because it doesn't really have it if you just get stuck with a car and you can't modify it in any way. But anyway, I've gone off track here. You get my point. It kind of removed the whole customization aspect of Need for Speed, which was introduced, quite early on, as I said. Not extremely early on, but it was a step forward, and it's taken a step back. I think we can agree with that. But with Need for Speed Rivals, obviously, they are bringing that back. So I'm happy that they are, but it's still not the extent that we had originally. But I am hoping after this, which is why I want Underground 3, that they take it a step further and they provide what we want. So another thing that Hot Pursuit to me took away from Need for Speed, it kind of took away the deep progression system that we got in Most Wanted, Carbon, Pro Street, Undercover. Every game after that, except Nitro and possibly World, but those games had deep progression systems where you start off with a low class car, you upgrade that car to try and keep up with some of the low cars which are going faster, and you eventually, after maybe a week of playing, finally get to where you want to be with that M3 or with an R8 or something really nice that you've always wanted, pretty much. But with Hot Pursuit, you kind of dive in the game and you're given a Porsche straight away. Now, I can't really go out and then buy a Porsche and start my racing career. It's not really how it works, and that's what I really like about Need for Speed. Starting on a realistic level and then taking off into bigger heights. It just provides a bigger game for me. I mean, they've said Need for Speed Rivals will last people about 6 hours, which is not a very long time, but it's still it's a bit longer than Hot Pursuit in my opinion. And obviously with Rivals, having the money system in the game also contributes to progression, the ability to buy cars, upgrade cars slightly, visually modify your cars. It does add more to the progression. It actually feels like you're getting somewhere rather than just being given cars for completing a race every now and again. To me, Hot Pursuit did feel like an arcade game, and I know it was kind of a reboot of an arcade-ish style, era of games, because that's what they were. The early games were arcade games pretty much. It was kind of, I know it's rebooting it, but if you would have put the nowadays today's level of progression and what we want from a game today in that game, kind of mixing it up a bit, it would make more sense rather than just doing an old classic arcade game and putting prettier graphics on it, if you understand what I mean. I think you get my point. So one of the less significant features that it introduced to the series that's it's been in since, and I'm expecting it to be in Rivals, is the nitrous rubber banding that was introduced in Hot Pursuit. I believe it was introduced in Hot Pursuit. I don't think it was in World. I don't know if it was in Nitro because I never even played it, but I'm pretty damn sure it wasn't in any of the Undergrounds and Most Wanted, Carbons, etc. So basically, if you don't know what it is, it really, what happened is, if you're behind, really at the back, in Most Wanted for example, you can use your NOS and it won't deplete at all until you get to a certain distance to the first place, until you get to first place yourself, and then the person behind you will get the the stupid amounts of NOS. It basically means that your NOS depletes less when you use it, so it kind of helps you come from last place to something more decent, possibly even first. Like Most Wanted was on another level of how stupid it gave you it, because it was kind of delayed. You could have stupid amounts of NOS even though you've accelerated at miles past the person in first place. It just ruins it, because say for example the person in last place is in a Hennessy Venom and he's just crashing all the time, and he goes, oh, you know what, I'm far behind now, I'm just going to use NOS and catch up, and say the person in front has actually earned that place. They've not, most of the time the person in front does not attack people, taking people out every 2 minutes. They are good racers. But the people in the back, they're the ones that are crashing all the time, trying to take you out in Bugatti Veyrons. And then when they fly past you, you're going to be pissed off because you've actually tried to earn that place, and you deserve that place. Yeah, it's just really annoying that it does it, but Hot Pursuit, from what I've seen, introduced this concept into Need for Speed, and ever since then, I think it's just messed it up completely. Obviously, we don't know if it's in Rivals. I should hope it's not. Fingers crossed. If someone actually knows if it's not or if it is, please let me know, because Jesus Christ, I don't want this. Anyway, moving on to the next one. One of the more annoying features they added to the series of games, it added the constant criterion drifting kind of thing, which really pisses me off. Now, I like the whole idea of drifting. Drifting is freaking awesome. I love drifting. If I can drift around the corner in GTA, I feel badass about it. And that's what I want to feel with Need for Speed. I don't want to be, tapping the brakes slightly and then put into a drift that only a genius could achieve. I want to actually have to, learn how the car handles, how to pull, which way to turn, when to turn, how slight to turn, what gear I need to be in to do this. If you force me to drift around every single corner, it feels cool at first. You're like, yes, that was a nice drift. Yeah, that was a nice drift. And the 5-year-olds do that forever. But the people that really do enjoy this series of games and enjoy racing, when they drift around every corner, it just gets tiring. And I know it looks cool and so on, but it doesn't after a while. You actually... I would actually feel much better if you had to learn how to handle the car and then drift it every now and again when you can. The run was kind of more like this. It kind of... It wasn't easy to drift, and it did slow you down a lot when you drifted, which is another good point to make, because high-speed drifting, Hot Pursuit let you freaking go full speed in a drift. Whereas the run, it slowed you down quite a bit. Sometimes you go about 30-40 miles per hour when trying to drift around a corner, and you had to learn the car and how to drift it before you did try it. It wasn't perfect. I would prefer something like, Most Wanted, Carbon, Undercover, for example. But, even GTA, I would prefer GTA's driving, GTA 4 and GTA 5's driving, to the current driving of Need for Speed, which is kind of depressing because GTA is not really a driving based game. But you get the idea, it just kind of takes away from the excitement and skill required for a Need for Speed game. Hopefully you understand my point in there. It was, I didn't really explain it too well, but if you get the idea, just, that's all that matters. Okay, possibly the... I wouldn't say the most annoying feature, but it's up there. It's very annoying, very, very annoying when it happens. It happened a lot of the time if you were playing Most Wanted, because of the nature of the game. It's just an open world, and if you tap a car, what happens? You get the Criterion crashing. Now, let me just be clear on this. I like the crashing system in Burnout. It was nice, it was understandable, it added something to it. But when you add it to Need for Speed, it kind of takes away what really meant Need for Speed to me. And I know it sounds really stupid and nerdy, and it's something that's not really that bad. But when you're playing the game, I play games a lot because I have a YouTube channel, I record a lot, for example, and I play games in my fun, my free time. So I play games pretty much all day. So when you are driving very well and you tap into a car at about, when you're turning around a corner and you tap it about 10 miles per hour and you have to sit through a 5-10 second cutscene of your car flying through the air, watching other people go past you, I'm going to be annoyed. I would rather do it how the run had it almost perfect. I'd prefer it not at all, but if you're going to do the crashing, I think you should do it like the run. Because if you were driving the same route, or same way as someone, and you hit into the back of them, you won't get the burnout crash. In Most Wanted, you will get the burnout crash and so will they. Because in the run, it would you actually feel the car's weight. It would like smack into the back and the whole thing would shake, and then you just slow down quite a bit. Which is what I want. I don't want to have the crashing and so on. It does really take away from the experience of racing to me. Some people are 50-50 on it. I'm kind of 60-40 because sometimes I do like the respawning down the road slightly, maybe ahead of where I was, because it saves the anger of having to start accelerating again and so on. It's annoying, but they're both as bad as each other, but I would prefer to have the method where I don't have to spawn ahead of someone and feel as if I'm cheating. And I don't want to tap someone and take them out by accident when I'm not even trying to. I just hate the whole Criterion crashing thing as a whole. When I'm hitting people, when I'm hitting traffic, when I'm hitting walls, everything. It just really slows down the game in my opinion, and it looks cool, but it does get annoying and boring having to sit through the cutscenes. And obviously a skip won't really work because it'll mess up the times on multiplayer. You get the point. Now keep in mind before I say this one that I didn't really play Need for Speed properly, like really played it before Underground, Underground 2 Most Wanted Carbon. That area of games, that's when I really got into Need for Speed, and I've been into Need for Speed for quite a while since then, but I've been on and off of it since the release of Shift, because it wasn't really my kind of thing. But anyway, that's not the point I want to make. The point I want to make is the introduction of these silly powers. They're calling it Pursuit Tech now, which is a more, I don't know, more professional name, but they really are just powers, because some of them are the most idiotic things I've seen in my life. Really, it's just like what's the point in this? Because I can understand the point, being able to call in a helicopter, that's fine. Getting a boost of NOS, that's fine. But striking cars with EMPs, blasting them with a gush of air and stuff. It just, all of that makes me go, this is Mario Kart, Criterion Racing. It's just a bit weird. Now I'm kind of understandable that the cops get these things, dropping spike strips and so on. I'm totally fine with that, but I don't really want the racers to have EMPs. If I'm doing a one-on-one race with a racer, I don't want him to shove an EMP up my ass, because that's just stupid. Why should a racer be EMPing me? We're supposed to be racing to see whose is the better car. Obviously it's mine, because it's just how it is. But that's the thing. It also brings back the whole progression customization system into it, because I want my car to look better than his and that sort of thing. But the point is, these powers and abilities and EMPs, and it just makes it Mario Kart. I can understand how some people like them, and the reason as to I can't remember his bloody name now. basically the creative director of Criterion says the reason they put them back in again in a big way is because people really enjoyed using them in Hot Pursuit. He said he looked at the data and so on, which I think is a load of bollocks, because I had to use them to, you know, finish some of the levels. I can understand it adds more to it, but it does take away the whole point of Need for Speed to me, which is racing, fairness, not crashing people every 2 minutes, that sort of thing. I think it just really does take away more than it gives. So hopefully you understand kind of why I hate Hot Pursuit. I don't, you know, hate it more than anything in the world, but it was kind of one step forward and 10 steps back kind of thing. You know, it was really just a matter of the things that were taken from it rather than added to it. Now, I know it was supposed to be a blast from the past style game, but honestly, if they had Hot Pursuit as it is now, they added in progression, a decent progression, you know, started from the, you know, a lower end car to a higher end car, you know, added in the personalization, progression, that sort of thing. What does it sound like? It sounds like a good game. It sounds like Need for Speed Rivals. You get my point. Need for Speed Rivals is looking to be the version of Hot Pursuit that I was looking for, because I didn't really play Hot Pursuit, and I can't really go back and play it today because, you know, the older Hot Pursuits, because I wouldn't enjoy it, honestly. Like, I can't go back and play Porsche Unleashed. You know, it just wouldn't be fun. I know Hot Pursuit was more fun than the older games, the older games, but not even close to Underground 2 Most Wanted Carbon, because those are not really outdated games. They do look fantastic still, you know, for how old they are. But, you know, it just kind of, the main reason I hate it is it just took away more than it brought to the table. And this is why Rivals should have been what Hot Pursuit is, and hopefully that would have made it so Most Wanted might have been alright. But no, it was garbage. I might make a separate video for Most Wanted, because my hatred for Most Wanted is pure hatred. No exceptions. Okay, there may be one or two, but that's another video. It did bring some things to the table, Hot Pursuit, which I like, but it took more away than it brought, as I said. I can't... You know, it did look like a fantastic game. I liked the rubber banding at the time, but when I got into it and thought it's not really going to work, because it makes it more difficult to win and makes it really intense, and the time gaps for the time escapes and so on really, really small later on in the game. But it kind of just angered me a lot more, because I knew their cars were a lot slower than mine, but they managed to outpower me anyway, even though I was getting everything perfectly right. And at the last moment, I always do a Criterion crash and everyone finishes before me. But you get the idea. Whatever your opinion is on it, Hot Pursuit to you might have been the fantastic game that you've always wanted in Need for Speed series. Need for Speed Most Wanted might have been the most fantastic Need for Speed you've ever played. Rivals might be the most fantastic Need for Speed you've ever played. But to me, there is a huge gap missing in Need for Speed, which is Most Wanted, Underground, Most Wanted Carbon. Those area of games, you know, Underground 2 Most Wanted Carbon, sorry, those games need a reboot. Just like, you know, Hot Pursuit had one, just like Rivals is going back to high stakes. I don't want a new Porsche Unleashed, I don't know about you, because that's kind of what's next on the list. But after that, Motor City Online, Hot Pursuit 2, and then we get to Underground. I think it's about time we get a new Underground game. It would be great to have that as the 20th anniversary game as well, keep in mind. And I think they can really add some things to it. Now, I don't want, as I've said, continuous night racing. I don't want neon flashy cars. What I want is to start with a boxy little car, maybe night racing or day racing. I don't care. Underground to me doesn't mean it's night constantly, but the name would make it sell more is what I mean. And what I want is an add-on from that. You know, I want those things and then added more on top of. I don't want the constant drifting added on and all that bollocks. But what I want is today's car list. I want actors from today. I want, you know, racing from today. I want to, you know, if I want to put flashy neons on my car, let me do so. Let me have the option to do so. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do it your car. I can do it to mine. It doesn't modify your performance in any way. It just affects how I look at my car. I want to put neons on. I want to make custom, you know, use custom rims. I want to use a custom paint job. I want to put a big spoiler on it. I want to put a big body kit on it. That's up to me. My car. And that's really what's missing from Need for Speed, because if GTA can do a better customization and racing progression system than Need for Speed has today online, it's kind of worrying. And I want Need for Speed to do well. It is a really long-lasting series, and obviously once we get our underground, we're happy. You know, you can have your next reboot of your, you know, Hot Pursuit or Rivals, and then we get an underground style game again. You know, just want a mix of racing experience with Need for Speed, because that's what we've all come to understand what Need for Speed is as of late. It's not just racing, it's different types of racing, and the only people that haven't really had a taste of what we want for so long is us, since, really, Carbon. And it's kind of worrying. But, you know, hopefully we get there. Hopefully we get to a stage where everyone can agree that you know, Need for Speed Underground could be the game for everybody. Because we can start off with low cars and start finishing high-end cars like Veyrons with neons if we want to, because it's optional. That's the rating I want. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Just a quick message to quickly reply to Craptastic Jack. This was kind of a video kind of aimed at him, but not really, you know, directed at him. It was kind of directed to everyone to let you know what I want. You can check out his video. He's got some good points in the I'll link his video in the description. But just to answer your question you had, how did I get 50 million speed points? My game actually glitched, and every time I went online I got like 2-3 million speed points, maybe 5 million speed points, and I was like, what? But yeah, it just glitched. I didn't want it to. The only way I could do it is by deleting my save data, so it's something I didn't really want to do. Anyway, hopefully this answers your Hot Pursuit questions. I will possibly do a Most Wanted video, the new Most Wanted, if you want me to go into that, and I hope you enjoy these style of videos. As always, anyway, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like if you did enjoy. Comment your thoughts below. Did you enjoy Hot Pursuit? I liked it, but for not for very long because of the nature of the game. It was just literally the old one with prettier graphics. That's not really what I want. I want new. Anyway, let me know what you think. Subscribe if you want more Need for Speed speaking stuff. Need for Speed Rivals is coming out this month, guys. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Peace.